Hello everyone. So welcome back to my channel. So basically this is the AWS Zero to Master series, and in this playlist in the last session we learned about how we can create the AWS account with the free tier. So now in the today's session we will see about how we can create the EC2 instance and how we can automate the task with the user data. So let's begin. So AWS EC2 stands for Elastic Compute Cloud. Basically, it is the infrastructure as a service providing by AWS. For example, if we require any kind of virtual machines to deploy our workloads, to deploy our applications, basically we can create a EC2 as a service on the AWS and we can start out to using on that. So coming to the like EC2, when we are creating the EC2 on the AWS, we should be know about some basics criteria before creating that EC2 instance. So the first one is that like EC2 sizing. So basically EC2 sizing is nothing but in the AWS side, they have been categorized as, some of the category to choose the right sizing. So each category they are providing the different CPU count and the different memory, and we can expect some kind of like advanced write and read process. Along with that, we can get it some network bandwidth. So based on the category, we can expect more and more like different configuration. So don't worry about that. I'll just explain you in the upcoming session when we are sort out working on that AWS sizing level. So I just pasted the link on this chat. Maybe if you required to learn more about that in this moment, you can just look into that AWS documentation. So the next point that AWS operating system flavor. So basically AWS side they are calling it the AMI. So we should be like know about what type of AMI we are going to be deploy and the version and the operating system flavor we should be ensure. So the another important things we should be ensure that AWS security group. So basically this is the entry point of that like a network traffic for that EC2 instance. So when we are creating a EC2 instance, either we need to be create a new security group or else we can create a existing security group. So using the security group, we can allow and deny the network traffic using the different ports. So we will see you in the upcoming session, once we started working on the database security group. So along with that, we should be ensure that AWS key pair. This is nothing but to when we are connecting our EC2 instance, we need to be authenticate with something called user ID and password. Instead of user ID and password, what we can do using the private and public key, we can authenticate. So AWS recommending to use the AWS keeper. But if we don't want to be like use the AWS keeper, we can just skip it, but it's not a recommended way. So don't worry about that. All this component we will see it in that one by one. Apart from that, there are multiple configuration we can see it on the portal. So one by one we will see it in the upcoming session. So we will start out to just creating on that AWS EC2 on the AWS console. I'm just quickly opening that console. So basically this is the AWS console as you are aware. If you need to be open that any of the services, just click on the grid and you can choose it whatever you want, or else we can try to select it. So just click on the EC2. So in the EC2 pan, we can control all the EC2 level like configurations component. Along with that, we can just manage that load balancer. They are calling it that ELB, Elastic Load Balancer, and target groups, auto scaling groups. So most of the EC2 related things we can manage it here itself. So this is the EC2 dashboard where we can monitor our overall overall configurations, like how many instances are running and how many auto-scaling groups are running and how many key pairs are running, we can see it. Along with that, there is one more option called AC2 Global View. Here we can like monitor all our AWS resources in the all the region level, not only that single region. We can get it that all the region total overall how many regions are available. Each region, if we have any instance, it will be come into that overall region level. So as I mentioned, like all the services will be like placed into the particular region. This is the global, so that we are getting that all the instance details like overall the global level. So now we are going to be redirect to the EC2 dashboard. So as I mentioned before, creating the EC2 resource, you should be like be sure about that AWS region, because when we are creating the EC2, like those EC2 will be placed into the particular region, and it will be helpful to delete, and it will be helpful to manage that. So I'm going to be create a EC2 on the North Virginia, so I'm just redirecting to that particular region. So to create a EC2 like EC2 instance, just click on the instance. So right now you can see I don't have any instance running on that EC2. So I'm just going to be launch the instance. So to do, just click on the launch instance. So this is the launching configuration details, where we can give it all the details to deploy the EC2. So don't worry about that. There are multiple configuration we can see. We will see in the one by one in upcoming lesson. So I'm just giving that a name called my first instance. So this is for our reference purpose. You can just give it whatever you want. This is basically that AMI, as I mentioned, that OS flavor. We can choose it whatever we want. Apart from that, there are like more AMIs. We can see it if you click on the browse AMI, like Amazon Linux and Mac OS. Maybe we can search it here also to get it. If we need to be deploy the EC2 with the Windows, we can search it with the Windows. So this is the way we can like select it, our like EC2 AMIs. Along with that, there is one more option called the My AMIs. This is nothing but like we can create our own AMI, and we can deploy our EC2 with our own AMI. This is a separate concept. We will cover it in the upcoming session. So right now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to be like choose it as that Amazon Linux as my AMI. So like this is 64-bit x86 architecture, and like apart from that, the AMI ID we can see. So the instance type, as I mentioned, they are providing that multiple instance type based on our requirement. So, like for example, if you are selecting the T2 micro, they are providing one vCPU and 1 gigabits memory. And if you are selecting the different version T2 Nano, one CPU, and we can get that zero point 0.5 MB memory. So based on our sizing, we can expect that CPU and memory, and that network bandwidth, everything. So basically, I'm going to be select the T2 micro, since this is applicable for the free tier eligibility. So some of the size only we can expect in the free tier, but I think that's enough to learn that AWS. So the key pair, as I mentioned, this is the like this is nothing but to connect our EC2 instance in the secured way. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to be like create a key pair at this moment. So my first instance, and I'm going to create with the by default one. So don't worry about that. I'll just explain you in the upcoming session what is the key pair, and why we need to be selected. So just ignore at this moment. So create a key pair. So along with that, what I'm going to do, I'm not going to be change anything on the network level. I'm just going to be change only the security group setting. So this is nothing but we can allow and deny our network traffic using this security group. So I'm just going to be select the existing one. Apart from that, I'm not going to be change anything on the data like EC2 instance level. Like we will see it in that one by one. So the storage also, I'm going to be leave it as the default. So another one more concept, as I mentioned, like in the today's session, we are going to be learn to create a EC2 with the user data. So basically, user data means like so the user data means it's a nothing but it's a bootstrapping the process. So that means when we are launching the instance, like if you need to be automate any task, post the like EC2 creation, we can pass those commands into the user data. So that will automatically execute once after completed the EC2 creation. So basically, this will be helpful when we are creating that EC2 on the Linux flavor. So without user intervention, we can install whatever we want. So here I have been pasted some of the example user data to pass it on that AWS AWS like user data section. So basically, what we are doing, this is the like a Linux commands. Here we are going to be install that HTTPD service using the yum utilities. So along with that, what we are going to do, we are going to be enable those services using the system CTL. So then we are going to be add welcome to my channel content in the index.html along with that host name. So this is the way we are going to be post these user data into the user data section. So we will see like how it will be running on that in backend and what output we are getting. So we will see in that portal level. I'm just copying that data. So I have been copied that user data, and so now we will see how we can pass the user data in that AWS console and how it will be working on that. So let me switch into that console. So basically, the user data section, we can see it under the advanced details. If you expand in the bottom, you can see that option called user data, whether we can either we can pass it as a file or else we can pass it as a content. So basically, I'm just going to be paste it as a content. So apart from that, you can see multiple options under the advanced. So don't worry about that. We will see it one by one in the upcoming session. So in the right hand side, the number of instance we can define based on the count, it will be create the instance. So right now we are going to be create only one instance. So that's all about that basic configuration. Just a launch instance. So to create that instance, it will take minimum maximum 1 or 2 minutes to complete the process. So you can track it on that instance level. So that's right now the status is pending. Once after completed the instance status, it will be do the some of the system check. So all the instance configuration details we can see it under the instance configurations. We can see the details and status, monitoring, security, all the things. So the public IP address of that instance is 52.2.5. This is the one, and the private IP basically it will be assigned based on that PPC and subnet. So now you can see the instance has been running successfully. So we will try to access those user data whether it has been installed or not in the particular instance. So to check that, basically I have we have been passed the user data section to install the HTTP service. So we will try to check it those services whether enabled or not. So to check that, I'm going to be access using the HTTP protocol with the public IP. So now you can see basically I'm getting my content welcome to my channel along with that the local IP of the instance. Local IP will sense the subnet level one of the IP should be assigned for the instance. So you can see the instance of IP will be 17.233. So here you can get it 17.233 and the instance has been deployed on the EC2 internal this is the purpose. So basically this is the way we can pass that we can create our EC2 instance and we can pass some of the command and EC2 user data so that that will be automatically deployed that will automatically run it once after completed the instance. So this will be work it on that when the time of launching the instance or when the time of rebooting the instance. Apart from that, if you need to be install any of the like any of if you need to be if you need to be run the any of the command post that instance launch, you can do it either you need to be restart or you need to be launch the instance. So that's all about that AWS EC2 creation and that user data. So if you have any doubt or anything, if you need to be know about more on this, just feel free to leave a comment. I'll just try to uh, update you in the upcoming session. So that's all about that my end. So thanks for watching my channel and we will see you in the upcoming session.